My sister conned my husband out of $15,000 with a fraudulent land document. Then a snide remark at dinner gave me the perfect chance to expose her lies. I'm female, 34, and my family has a long history of running cattle ranches in Indiana. We've been doing it since my great-grandfather migrated here, and now we own over 3,500 acres of land for raising cattle and growing crops. I know a lot of you on Reddit don't get this kind of lifestyle, but my husband and I are deeply passionate about it, and that has been greatly appreciated by my family, who are also a bunch of ranch hands. My sister Deborah, female, 32 though, looks at all of this with a lot of disdain. Both of us went to Indianapolis for college, where I earned a degree in agricultural sciences, and she earned a degree in geography. While I respect city life and don't put it down, my heart belongs here in the big old plains of the country. Deborah, though, was taken in by the fast-paced nature of everything Indianapolis had to offer, and made it her sole mission to move out of state, setting her sights on New York City. I won't lie, the family, myself included, was a bit harsh to her when she told us she had her. Life set out for this path, but at the end of the day, a bird's got to leave the nest, right? Our grandfather passed away in 2009, and in his will he gave Deborah and me each 450 acres of land to build up our own ranches. My husband and I were really taken aback by this gesture and respected the fact that Grandpa had trusted us enough to give us such a direct role in the family's ranches and expansion. So we got to work, and currently we have some of the nicest pastures in the Great Plains. The neighboring acreage was my sister's, and she treated it as if the world's worst burden had been thrown on her due to Grandpa's death. She postponed her journey to New York City, where she had secured an offer to work for some petrochemical company, and complained about it constantly. At the time of Grandpa's death, I had to not only deal with the loss of a beloved family member, but also figure out how to set up my ranch, get good cattle, build a network with the vets and experts in the area, and more. My husband was my rock throughout all of this, and I couldn't have done it without him. Deborah, I think, reached out to some company that assesses your land for oil and gas and ends up selling it for you. Kind of like a real estate agent for big mineral deposits. She did this in August of 2009, barely a few months after getting the land, with no effort to try and cultivate or grow it. While this went against everything we stood for in the family and was disrespectful to Grandpa, in my opinion, we didn't deny her the right to do it or treat her poorly like we did before, because we understood that times are changing, and Deborah wanted to do things differently. That was all in the past, and Deborah lives in New York now. As I said, my husband and I have done a good job with our ranch and are quite well off. The only eyesore for us is the big mining project that Deborah's ranch has become, but that doesn't affect us too much, as the company knows protocol well and doesn't overuse our shared resources. From our family get-togethers, I can tell that my sister isn't making it big in the city, and is stuck in the middle, struggling every now and then to move up the career ladder. There's a lot of office politics there, and back home, it was just down to your hard work and support. From your family, a month or two ago, my husband came to me distraught and revealed a big secret. Deborah had basically stolen $115,000 from him by telling him that she had discovered an old document. That redefined the boundaries of our shared property, giving her ranch, or what should have been her ranch, 100 extra acres. She then emotionally manipulated him into paying her money, claiming she should have earned more from selling off her share of the land. She took $115,000 for now, and said she'd take more as well. I was shocked and also kind of annoyed at my husband for not telling me. He's a big sweetie and didn't want me forming a negative opinion of my sister, so he basically paid the $115,000 out of his savings. Furthermore, he didn't even do any more digging into the issue, which I definitely would have done. Where in the world did Deborah get access to this document, and what kind of weight did it have? I asked him to show me the chats through which Deborah had blackmailed him, and there was a scan of the document. It was a land survey from 1895, and it did show the land encroaching over ours, but I mean, there's no way this would hold up, right? My anger was mounting at this point, and I needed to get to the bottom of this. I ended up asking a relative of ours about it. He's a lawyer, but not a heartless one. He said that if we could prove that Grandpa combined the adjoining properties when he bought them, not only would my 100 acres be safe, but I could also probably throw Deborah's sale of her share into a lot of legal trouble. With that in mind, I asked Grandma if I could look at Grandpa's property papers, and saw that he had indeed combined the land that Deborah and I got in his will. So her whole logic of coaxing money out of my husband was on shaky ground, basically hovering on a pile of nonsense. I told my husband about this, and we decided that we'd calmly confront Deborah about it when she came over for Thanksgiving. She arrived the week before the dinner, and my husband, our extended family, cousins, little kids. Everyone was staying at Dad's large ranch as a way to have some fun family time. While I would usually love the chance to hang out with all of my clan like this, Deborah's behavior at this time was exhausting. Firstly, she would not stop talking about New York. Every other sentence of hers was, "Oh, in New York they do it like this," or "Back in New York, everyone does it better." Okay, that last one isn't true, but it annoyed everyone, though we were used to it. What I didn't like was her coming up to my husband and me one day and after some pleasantries, doing what she always does, making snide comments. She said, "Must be nice making so much money on stolen land. You should be nicer to me. I'm not suing." I was seeing red. How dare she make this comment after what she has done? At this point, I knew I could have her tongue-tied by showing her grandpa's property papers, but after that incident, I decided I would make it much worse for her. She expected me to just roll over and treat her as some gracious savior for letting us use her land. Her whole ploy was based on me being some dumb Barbie who wouldn't know the law, but she underestimated me. I feel like I may be the jerk here because I remember this thought running through my head. Okay, let's wait until the most humiliating moment to air this dirty laundry. Dinner was a few hours away, and I was feeling petty. So, after the turkey was carved and we all sat down, I planned to slowly make small comments about Deborah selling off her ranch and how that got me curious about the history of the property. Well, all of that went flying out the window. What happened was Deborah making yet another snide comment, directed at my husband, innocently saying that she expected a big gift for Christmas, and I snapped. I fully smashed down my cutlery and screamed, "Listen up, the only gift you're getting from me is a lawsuit. I have papers from Grandpa's property that prove that both our plots are treated as one unit, and if that's the case, you idiot. Then selling off your ranch for oil is a big problem, and I'm going to make it into one for you." It looked like I'd slapped her across the face. It was hilarious. My sister had no idea I knew about this little loophole and was just opening and closing her mouth like a fish without saying a word. She got up and started to leave. During all of this, the whole family was in a mess, taking sides, telling me to calm down, and since they didn't know what the issue was about, they were just being nosy in general. I shouted at Deborah all the way to the driveway, and once she drove off, I told the entire family about what she had done. Once they knew, they were just as mad as me, and Dad was ready to disown her. I know that if I had approached this quietly before dinner, none of this would have happened, and while I do kind of hate her guts right now, I don't want her to be cut off from the family forever. So Reddit, am I the jerk? Update, it seems Deborah left for New York and lawyered up. The same relative who helped me out earlier said he can help out too, and she doesn't have a leg to stand on. It seems like we'll be taking this to court. Update 2, guys. The court proceedings have been going on for a month now, and it's looking like it's in our favor. The oil company that Deborah sold the land to approached us to settle out of court so they could continue their mining with less hassle, and oh boy, they're throwing a lot of money our way. I might take up this offer, but I'll let you know what happens as the case goes on. Update 3. So, we did end up taking the settlement, and Mom is getting herself a new John Deere. The case is closed, but Deborah ended up eating away most of her money in legal fees, and from what I heard, she reached out to Dad for a loan to put her savings back in check. I also read a lot of your comments, and you're all right. I shouldn't be that concerned for her. So I don't care what my family wishes to do about my sister, but I'm going no contact. You do suck a little because I feel like the whole call-out made this take a turn for the worse, and even if most of the comments disagree with me, she is still your sister. She's a jerk, but maybe you could have helped her see that in a less confrontational way. As a lawyer myself, you're in the clear. I think your sister ended up digging a hole for herself by lawyering up instead of trying to resolve it with you, and yeah, you should probably not worry about your sister as much as you do. She kind of has it coming to her. That story. To make a long story short, I, a 28-year-old female, am getting married tomorrow. My dad is not insanely rich or anything, but is pretty well off, more so than the average person. He's 69 years old and is dating a 23-year-old woman. They've only been together for 4 months, but already she's moved in with him, and they're engaged. I know that she's with him for his money, and I knew it from the start. This isn't typical daddy's little girl jealousy or anything. She is genuinely just with him for his money. I've even asked her before if she thinks she would be with my dad if he couldn't support her the way he does, and she literally said no. He's always buying her things, and I'm currently paying for her college. She threatens to leave him if he doesn't buy her what she wants every time she wants it. The whole thing is a nightmare. It would be different if she were at least nice, but she isn't. When I first met her, I wasn't indifferent to her at all. I actually tried really hard to be nice. But right off the bat, she was passive-aggressive and rude to me. I've caught her wearing my deceased mom's jewelry and clothes before, and all she says is, well, they're mine now, which infuriates me. I used to have a family birthday party at my dad's house every year, but this year, I didn't get to have one because she didn't want me to, which was really disappointing. She went as far as to tell him I wasn't welcome in their home anymore after only meeting me 3 times, and since then, my contact with my dad has died down significantly. She's never been nice or even civil with me. Maybe if she were, I wouldn't care as much, because I know that my dad is grown and can make his own decisions, but she's taking advantage of him because he's vulnerable and has been sad and lonely since my mom passed and is looking to fill the void somewhere. Long story short, I told him I wanted him at my wedding, but she couldn't come to either the wedding or the rehearsal because I didn't want her bad attitude to ruin my day. He got upset with this, and it caused a minor argument, but he eventually folded, saying he wouldn't bring her, and I thought that was the end of it. However, yesterday they showed up to the rehearsal together. I was pissed, as I had deliberately told him not to bring her, and explained my reasoning for doing so. I didn't want drama, so I discreetly pulled him aside and told him that he could stay, but she needed to go. My dad tried to convince me to let her stay, but I told him we had already hashed this out beforehand. He got mad, and they ended up leaving. That night she texted me, letting me know that my dad would not be walking me down the aisle, and this was only a result of my own immature actions. This obviously breaks my heart because I love my dad with my whole heart. But when I called him to ask, he confirmed what she said. I'm honestly so depressed about the whole thing and regret it. But at the same time, there has to be a point when I stand up for myself against her. Edit, the official ceremony starts in about an hour, and my uncle is going to be walking me down the aisle. That's just gross. The age difference is pretty stark, but the real issue is your father's behavior. I'm trying really hard to understand what he could possibly see in her. Other than the obvious, that would be worth cutting his daughter out. Your dad is the jerk, as is his fiancée. Your dad has allowed her to marginalize you and cut out your relationship. It sounds like he's pretty set on burning this bridge. Normally, I would say it's not good to expressly exclude a significant other, but she's toxic. Let me break it down for you. Something else is more important. That's how it goes here in AITA and in conflict in general. 2 people who are in disagreement about what matters more. To you, respecting your mother's memory. And the family bond is more important. To your father, his new fiancée is more important. Do not invite him and expect him to respect and abide by anything so long as the new fiancé wants something in conflict with your requests. He has already made that very clear when he broke an agreement with you for her. You are not more important to him. She is, so why waste your special day fretting over someone who can't even spare the energy to do the same for you? It doesn't matter who it is, father or not. You will learn how little you are valued by him and decide whether you agree with it. Make that day your day. Treat yourself better than he treats you. You're not the jerk. Next story. I have an income. I make $800 to $1,000 a month, but it's while doing a hobby, not a real job. Here's the deal. Before the virus, I worked as a med tech, and I'd been working there for 4 years. I made great money because of how much overtime I worked weekly. It was not a choice I made to work that much. We had a policy where if someone called out, you were not allowed to leave unless you found coverage for the shift that someone else abandoned. This was because it was only me and one other CRMA on the floor for over 200 residents, and they needed meds, but no one else was qualified. Usually the only people who could cover were management, and they just outright refused 24/7, so I got stuck there nearly every single day to cover. During this time, my fiancé didn't work. Someone needed to stay home with the kids. Well, I caught the virus from work and was out for 14 days unpaid. When I came back, I was told to turn in my badge and leave. They got me for job abandonment because I didn't call in every single day. I was awarded wrongful termination compensation but refused to return after that. Currently, my fiancé works 2 jobs by his own choice. He came home the other day completely burnt out. I get that, I was that person, so I understand. But he took it out at that moment, decided to lash out, and told me I needed to get a real job because him working 2 jobs isn't what he wants. It's not what I want either, but here's the thing. We are down to 1 vehicle. He totaled his. The schedule clashes, and no one will be here to get the kids off the bus. They are young, etc. So I told him that I would not be getting a real job unless changes were made. Either we get a second vehicle and he stops using mine because I will not be getting the kids up at 4:30 in the morning to drive him to work, going back to get the kids on the bus, leaving work early to get the kids off the bus, and then going back out an hour later to collect him from work an hour and 20 minutes away every single day, or he finds a way to get the kids off the bus or pays for daycare, which we cannot afford. His words, he won't though, because we don't have the means to, so it's not an unreasonable refusal, but we truly cannot do it. We have no friends in the area, and all family lives out of state, so we have no chance of getting help with the kids. It's not like I don't have an income, but he thinks I'm just sitting around having fun while he busts his ass, and that's not the case. He has resorted to saying I'm living the high life while he's bending over backward. I've also tried applying for at-home positions, but that pisses him off because he thinks I'm going to become isolated and depressed from lack of socialization. You're not the jerk at all, but you do have to have a talk with your fiancé about how to make each of you working possible. The old job sounds downright abusive. Why would someone with the virus have to call in each and every day? I mean, there is a set time frame for how long one needs to be out. It has been altered at different times during the pandemic, but the current policy at the time was no mystery, and as for if some coworker calls in and it becomes your problem, that's nonsense. That's something management should be dealing with, not putting on you. As I sit here on the porch of our ranch, watching the sun dip below the horizon over the vast plains that have been in my family for generations, a whirlwind of emotions crashes over me like a sudden summer storm. It's been months since that explosive Thanksgiving dinner, and the dust from the legal battles has finally settled, but the storm inside me rages on. I never imagined that my own sister Deborah, the one I grew up sharing secrets and scraped knees with, could betray us so deeply. The theft of that money, $15,000 from my husband's hard-earned savings, feels like a knife twisted in my gut every time I think about it. It's not just the financial loss, it's the violation of trust, the way she manipulated him with that fabricated document, preying on his kindness like a vulture circling a wounded animal. My husband, bless his sweet soul, tried to shield me from the pain, but when he finally confessed, it was as if the ground beneath our ranch shifted. How could she do this? We were blood, bound by the same roots that dug deep into this Indiana soil. Grief mingles with my anger like oil and water, refusing to blend but always present. Grandpa's passing in 2009 was a blow that nearly broke me. He was the patriarch, the man who taught me how to mend fences and read the weather in the clouds. His will was a gift, a legacy of 450 acres each for Deborah and me, meant to carry on the family tradition. I poured my heart into my land, waking before dawn to tend the cattle, negotiating with vets, planting crops that would sustain us through harsh winters. It was exhausting, exhilarating work that filled the void left by Grandpa's absence. But Deborah? She saw it as a chain, a burden tethering her to a life she despised. When she sold her share for oil extraction, it felt like she was spitting on his grave. I tried to understand, to rationalize that times change and people dream differently. City lights called to her, and who was I to clip her wings? Yet deep down, it hurt. It hurt to see our family's heritage drilled and polluted, turned into a mining eyesore that scarred the landscape we all loved. Then came the manipulation, the discovery of that ancient 1895 survey document. When my husband showed me the chats, my blood boiled. Deborah's words were slick, emotional blackmail wrapped in sisterly concern. "You owe me for the extra acres," she said, as if our shared history gave her the right to extort us. I was furious at her audacity, but also at myself for not seeing it sooner. Had I been too naive, too wrapped up in my ranch life, to notice the resentment brewing in her? Our family had been harsh when she announced her New York dreams, mocking her urban aspirations, calling her a traitor to our rural roots. Maybe that planted the seeds of this bitterness. Guilt creeps in now, whispering that I contributed to her disdain. But no, that doesn't excuse theft. It doesn't justify the snide comments she hurled like arrows during our family gathering. Must be nice making money on stolen land. Those words ignited a fire in me that I couldn't contain. The Thanksgiving confrontation replays in my mind like a nightmare on loop. I had planned to handle it calmly, to confront her privately with Grandma's property papers proving Grandpa had combined the lands. But her incessant New York bragging, her passive-aggressive jabs at my husband about Christmas gifts, it pushed me over the edge, slamming down my cutlery, screaming about the lawsuit in front of the whole family. God, regret hits me hard some nights. I see her face pale and shocked, mouth gaping like a fish out of water. Hilarious in the moment, but now it haunts me. Was I the villain there? The family erupted into chaos. Cousins taking sides, Dad threatening to disown her, kids wide-eyed and confused. I didn't want that. Despite everything, she's my sister. We shared a womb, whispered fears under blankets during thunderstorms. Cutting her off forever terrifies me. It's like amputating a limb, painful and irreversible. Yet, the anger surges back when I remember her driving away, leaving me to explain her deceit to everyone. They were furious too, but that shared outrage doesn't heal the fracture in our family. The court battles were a different kind of torment. Endless paperwork, lawyer fees, draining our resources, the oil company's settlement offered dangling like a carrot. We took it in the end. Mom got her new John Deere, a small victory amid the mess. But watching Deborah squander her money on legal fees then beg Dad for a loan, it stirs a toxic mix of pity and schadenfreude. Pity because she's struggling in that cutthroat New York world, office, politics grinding her down where hard work once sufficed back home. Schadenfreude because damn it, she brought this on herself. Her scheme was built on lies, on shaky ground that crumbled under scrutiny. Going no contact was my choice, a boundary to protect my peace, but it leaves a hollow ache. I miss the sister she used to be, the one who laughed with me over silly childhood games, not the resentful woman who saw our land as a payday. Loneliness creeps in during quiet moments like this, as the cattle low in the distance and the stars begin to prick the sky. My husband has been my anchor, his gentle nature a balm to my stormy soul. Without him, I'd have drowned in this sea of emotions. He's forgiven Deborah, or at least tries to, urging me to let go of the hate. But how? The betrayal runs deep, eroding the foundation of our sibling bond. I wonder if she'll ever apologize, if time will mend what words shattered. Part of me hopes for reconciliation, a family reunion where we laugh about the absurdity of it all. Another part fears it, fears reopening wounds that are just starting to scar. Pride swells when I look at what we've built here. Our pastures are thriving, a testament to passion and perseverance. It's more than land, it's identity, purpose woven into every blade of grass. Deborah's choices highlighted that contrast. Her disdain for our simple life versus my embrace of it. It makes me grateful, profoundly so, for the path I chose. College in Indianapolis could have pulled me away too, but agricultural sciences called me back to the plains. City life tempts with its pace and glamour, but here, in the heart of Indiana, I feel alive. The wind whispers Grandpa's approval, and that brings tears, joyful ones mixed with sorrow for what was lost. Yet, anxiety lingers about the future. What if more family secrets surface? What if Deborah's resentment festers into something worse? I've learned to dig deeper, to question documents and motives, but at what cost to my trust in people? Therapy crosses my mind. Maybe unpacking this emotional baggage would help. For now, I channel it into the ranch, riding horses at dawn, mending what needs fixing, growing stronger with each season. In the end, this ordeal has reshaped me. Anger has forged resilience, grief has deepened empathy, and betrayal has taught caution. I love my family fiercely, flaws and all, but I've learned to protect my heart. As the night envelops the ranch, I breathe in the earthy scent of home, holding on to hope that one day, healing will come. Until then, I'll cherish the peace we've fought for, 1 acre at a time.